Three formidable challengers in the South Side's Ninth Ward want to replace Alderman Anthony Beale. One of them is Ted Williams III, a minister and college political science lecturer. He says schools and opportunities for young people have been neglected in his ward's neighborhoods, Chesterfield and Roseland. I'm Mike Fouché, publisher of Aldertrack, and this is our Meet a Chicago Candidate series. So tell me, Ted.
Cool.
Why do you want to run for alderman?
I'm running for alderman because people ask me to run for alderman. I believe that public office is really public service. And so I came about this really through my work in the community and people coming and approaching me and saying, you should consider doing this because we believe that you have a unique set of skills and experiences to help to bring change to our community. I also teach political science, and so my students always hold me accountable for the things that I teach them. And I can't very well go and tell them that they ought to be involved in their community if I'm not willing to be involved in mine.
So do you consider yourself a Willie Wilson or Garcia or Fioretti or Emanuel supporter?
Supporter. So right now I'm willing at this point to work with whoever is in office when we're elected to basically push forward the needs of our community. At this time, I have been considering all of the candidates, but haven't made a firm decision about which one I'll support.
So a lot of what an alderman does is services, taking care of the ward. But if you had one big citywide issue, what would it be?
Those doggone red light cameras. I think that they have been a problem from the beginning. We know that literally over $500 million worth of revenue over the past few years has been garnered by this program. And when I look at the red light cameras, I think about the constitutional principle that I learned in school was that in America, you're innocent until you're proven guilty. Well, with the red light cameras, you really are guilty until you prove yourself to be innocent. And I think that's a problem, especially when they're in communities that can ill afford to pay the fines that they enact on people. And I think it's a real problem. I think that there are other ways to promote safety, and I think there are also other ways to generate revenue.
So Roseland and Pullman have really been caught in a cycle of neglect and economic problems. What can you do in order to break that cycle and pull those neighborhoods up?
Well, we have to look at not just short-term economic development, which may be a big store or something like that in the community. We have to look at long-term development. So it is public knowledge that 68 cents on every dollar that is earned by an entrepreneur in the community is reinvested back in the community. So when you look at this question of how do we long-term fix these problems, we have to increase the number of people that own businesses in our neighborhoods. I come from an entrepreneur background. My dad was an entrepreneur. I'm an entrepreneur. And I recognize that entrepreneurs are more likely to hire people from the local community. And so my plan for the Roseland community, for the West Pullman and the Pullman area, is to really create a business incubator whereby we secure sources of capital for small businesses. We promote young people to not just look for a job, but to look to create jobs and really to change the culture of entrepreneurship and business ownership. One of the other tragedies you find in communities like mine is that many of the people who own businesses in the area don't live in that area. Well, they take the resources out. And I think that we've got to change that dynamic. And I think that we have to make sure that we're pushing entrepreneurship, small business ownership, and workforce development so that we can take advantage of the jobs that entrepreneurs will create. And that's my number one priority. And that's the thing that I want to do most when I get elected.
All right. Well, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you very much.
You can learn more about the Ted Williams campaign and 183 others by subscribing to our email newsletter at aldertrack.com, by listening to this series on Rivet Radio, or by subscribing to this series on YouTube. Thank you very much. More great stuff to come.